Hello, and welcome to the We Are Power podcast. If this is your first time here, the We Are Power podcast is the podcast for you, your career, and your life. We release an episode every single Monday with listeners in over 60 countries worldwide, where you'll hear personal life stories, top-notch industry advice, and key leadership insight from amazing role models. As We Are Power is the umbrella brand to Northern Power Women Awards, which celebrates hundreds of female role models and advocates every year. This is where you can hear stories from all of our awards alumni and stay up to date with everything MPW Awards and We Are Power. Welcome to the podcast. I am delighted to be joined by Peter Jackson. Welcome to the pod.
Hello, good to see you. Thank you for having me.
Never know where a LinkedIn conversation can start, can you?
You never know.
I was listening to one of Peter's pods on the wonderful Lisa Morton, and she let you on her pod, which is specifically Manchester-based pod, but you let the Scouser on, right?
Yeah, she did, because we've worked together a long time, Lisa and I. We know each other well. But she's also now doing something about people who made a difference in Manchester, allegedly, from outside. So, I think we did. But...
And you are a non-exec and a partner of Hill Dickinson.
Yep, that's right.
Now, I see that every day here over in fabulous Liverpool on the side of the brand new Everton Stadium,
Indeed.
which is obviously very exciting for me. For those who know me know I'm a blue.
Yep.
But you're a red, right?
I'm a red. Yeah.
But you're welcome.
Thank you.
We'll talk through
Thank you.
this. We can
get
talk
over
through
it. We'll be all right. Yeah, we'll get over it.
How would you describe yourself in 3 words?
Energetic, realistic, and Scouse.
Yeah, like it. Get that tattooed.
Oh, yes, I'm not. No. I'm too old for tattoos.
Not brave enough, quite frankly, either.
It'll hurt.
What would it say
want to do
if you
that.
had one? If you had a tattoo,
I've never had a tattoo, and I'm never having one, and I've no idea what it would say.
Has anyone got a
idea.
Sharpie pen? No.
No. Draw the line at that.
And you have had such a massive career in law, right? And so you were doing such a grand job that they wished you over to Manchester to make it all better as well. But when you were growing up, did you know what you wanted to be?
No. I went to St Edward's in Liverpool. Probably got to the stage of A-levels, actually. Did English, history, French, didn't do very well in French, and didn't know what I wanted to do. But a great friend of mine, a family friend, had studied law, and he told me about it, and it seemed interesting, and I thought I might like it. So I thought I'd have a go at that. Got into university and did a law degree. Still at that stage, didn't know what I was going to use it for. I was going to make a living out of it. And it was probably in my second year at university. You were encouraged to apply for jobs at that point for what we used to call articles of clerkship in the good old days. I didn't think I'd be good enough on my feet to be a barrister. I didn't think I'd be quick enough. So I applied for articles and I got them at Hill Dickinson & Co. I did a couple of internship. Well, we didn't call it internships then. It was summer work or whatever in the early 80s, and then started on the 1st of September 1983. The rest is history, as they say.
And you think you're going to make a career of it?
I'm thinking about it. I'm not convinced yet, but I'm thinking about it. Of course, I only did law for the first 20 years until 2005, because when I went into management, I no longer practiced, and it would be foolish of me to even think about advising people on the law now, because, well, I'm out of it. I couldn't do it.
And you've already answered one of sort of my next question, if you like, in that one of the 3 words you used to describe yourself was Scouse.
Yeah.
Growing up in this, the magnificent city that is Liverpool, full of, hard work, graft, humour, football, cathedrals, music. Yeah. Is that what's made you who you are?
It's definitely contributed to who I am. I think you hit the nail on the head there. Hard work, graft, humour. I think Scousers are adept at mixing that very, very serious, the hard work, the graft, with we're always going to have a laugh. It's humour. It's light-hearted. It's the nobody died syndrome. Let's just get on with it. And I think that's definitely contributed to my personality, to some of the characteristics I think I display.
You left Liverpool but went off to Oxford, right?
I was lucky enough to go to Oxford University. I was good at passing exams. That
What's your hack? Give us an exam hack.
My exam hack. I was just good at it, and I seemed to do okay at exams. I wouldn't say I was academically brilliant. I wouldn't say I was particularly well educated in the rounder sense. I'm not sure you got a rounder education at a Catholic grammar school in the 70s, to be honest, but you got taught how to pass exams because that was what you had to do. So yeah, I went to Oxford 3 years. Eventually thoroughly enjoyed it. Was homesick for the first 12 months, 6 months or so.
Where was after then?
I went to Chester Law School in Crystleton. Did a year there, which was hard graft because it was learning by rote. I mean, it really was back to the classroom. It was very, very different to 3 years at university with a lot more freedom and being encouraged to think laterally and what have you. And did that for 12 months, passed. Had to retake 2 exams because, as I say, I wasn't particularly clever. I was just good at passing exams, and then really I wasn't. But then went straight into articles. There was no gap years in my day. You might have done the shutdown at Ford's for 3 weeks over Christmas, or a bit of grape picking in France if you were really adventurous. But most of my mates went straight into either work or university. So the age of 21, 22, I was an article clerk.
And then where did you go? How did you know where to go next? Was mentoring a thing back?
It was, and I had a very good mentor in the guy I worked for, a guy called David Waring, who became managing partner of Hill Dickinson before me. I was very close to him, and I saw his transition into management. And to be frank, and this is not a criticism of him, I thought I could do it better, in the sense that Hill Dickinson was of a stage of its evolution, a size, if you like, that he manfully tried to manage the firm and run a practice. And I thought, this is madness. We're of a stage now where we need somebody, for good or bad, who's going to manage the business. And that was sort of my mantra when I went into management. And that's what the firm told me. The firm said, they agreed with me, a time has come where you're going to have to give up practicing and you run the business. If you're no good at it, tough. But that's fair. I readily accept it.
What did you learn most about yourself during that time? Because you've just been handed this. It's a great opportunity.
Yeah.
But also it's a transformation project as well. Because if you're going to do things differently, then this is a long established business, right?
Yeah. Oh, even by that stage, we were 200 years old, dearest damn it. 195 when I took over. I think I was taught I realised I had to back myself. And that if I thought something was a good idea, give it a go. There may be 100 good reasons why not, and people will tell you why not, and they may be right. But if they have told you and you've seen a way through, round or over the obstacles they've put in your way, then go for it. However dramatic, grandiose it may seem, give it a go. What's the worst that can happen?
And you talk now a lot of the great leaders out there, it's about failing fast.
Yeah.
Did you have to do that a lot?
We did a bit of failing. Yeah, of course you do. I think if you're not failing, you're not trying hard enough.
100%.
There's a great barrister of this city, Brian Leveson, God love him, who once said to me, and David Waring actually, when I was an article clerk, so 45 years ago, whatever it was, if you don't lose cases, you're not fighting enough. And I think the same principle applies in leadership. Because sometimes you've got to give it a go and you won't always win. You'll get things wrong. You will do. It's inevitable. But learn from it. Learn from what you get wrong and try not to do it again.
If someone was describing you as a leader, how would they?
Well, ask them. I think they would say that I'm a good communicator. And I think that is an absolute trait of a leader that has to be there. And I think I was okay at communication. I'm comfortable talking to a room. I like public speaking, actually, surprisingly. It doesn't faze me. I didn't at the start.
It's in the Scouse DNA, I think.
I think it is in the Scouse DNA, but I think it's also something you can learn how to do. And I took it seriously, and I did learn how to do it. And I actually did get to enjoy a stage, love the sound of my own voice, basically. So a good communicator. I like to think I always did my homework. And, you know, he who does the most homework wins, as they say. And I'd like to think I did that. And then if you're going to be in a marketplace, if you're going to be in law, understand the marketplace. Be a strategist. Not all of the marketplace will be for you. You'll have a place in it. Ours was the mid-market, but understand it. And I think I did that.
And that phrase about the homework, that was one of your mentors, wasn't it?
It was David's. Yeah, it was David's, yeah.
Because it's brilliant, that. It's just, and it's simple.
It's
simple to understand.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we now do a podcast and I host it, and I am an absolute, not perfectionist, but I prepare to the nth degree. So, you know, if one of our guests has written a book, I read it. I think it's courteous to do that, apart from anything else, but also it's preparation. And our producer always says, no, do it blind occasionally. It's good. I say, I can't. This is in my DNA. If I'm, doing something tomorrow, I'll prepare for it today, insofar as I can. Yeah. There may be times when there's nothing there to prepare for and you've just got to wing it. But that's rare. And more often than not, you can prepare, and you will be better if you prepare, because you'll know more about the subject you're dealing with.
And is it not just because we're inherently curious, inquisitive, nosy?
There's an element to that. There's also a fear element, I think. There's a fear, and it's imposter syndrome, isn't it? Yeah. There's a fear of being caught out. There's a fear of not doing your homework. I always remember doing history A-level with Pop Allen, as he was called then, the head of history at St Eddie's. And he used to set us 6 topics a week, and then we would do an essay in the class. And Sod's Law dictated that the one topic I hadn't prepared for was the one he picked on the day. And I felt shocking, having to go up to him and say, I haven't prepared for this, I can't do it. And he gave me something else as if it was this, pat on the head, you go away and do that. So that taught me a big lesson.
And you talk, the life lessons are key, aren't they?
Yeah.
As long as we're learning from them. But it would surprise me that you would suffer from imposter syndrome. Does it go back to that moment?
I've had imposter syndrome forever. I was forever fearful that someone was going to find me out as a managing partner or as a lawyer. And I don't think that ever left me. I feel okay about it now. And there's times I can look back now and think, actually, we did all right, didn't we? But at the time, imposter syndrome was a big part of my makeup, and possibly it did put me on my mettle on occasions. And it may have been, now that you talk about it, maybe it was one of the drivers for my preparation sort of focus. But no, that was always there.
When you stepped down from CEO in 2024 in April,
April 24. Yeah.
But integral and part of was getting the new naming rights at the stadium, Everton. Now, we've already disclosed, haven't we? We're here.
Yeah.
Look at us like we're friends.
We can do this.
It's okay. Yeah. I'm an Everton. See that every day on the side of the stadium up the way. It's magnificent, right?
It is.
One of the best kept secrets, because that did not leak.
It didn't leak, no. I mean, we've been public about this now, so I can say a bit about it. We were approached by Everton. There was quite a period where Craig, my successor, was saying no, and Everton came back because they wanted us. They wanted a local business
because of the legacy. Yeah.
They wanted a local business with its heart in the Liverpool Merseyside community, legacy with the marine trade and all of those things, with 450 people still here, but an international business. Mm-hmm. One that mirrored their sort of trajectory in a way. Well, obviously the size is very, very different. And they came back a number of times before Craig felt he had no option. And I say that in a neutral sense. It wasn't being forced into it, but no option but to go to the board and say, we have this opportunity. It's a good one for the following reasons. I'd entirely understand if you say, now we don't do this sort of thing, but I think we've got to look at it. And we eventually put it to our partnership, although we didn't actually need approval. We thought it was so high profile. If the partners aren't going to like it, it's their money. We've got to give them an opportunity to have an opinion. And even at that stage, it didn't leak. Everton obviously didn't leak it. And we got to the stage of announcement with nobody in the outside world having an inkling, which was great in the sense that that would have been incredibly speculative because we signed the deal about an hour before it was announced.
Wow.
In the end. We did. It was an interesting afternoon. But as a Red, I had a number of roles in it because obviously this was Craig's. It's not for me to interfere anymore. I'm an NED. I advise, I counsel, I challenge. But he brought me in as his consigliere because nobody had done this before. He just needed someone to talk to, and I sort of put my arm around him and talked. But also as the Red in the camp, I was the weather vane for how are those who aren't Evertonians in our own partnership and indeed in our client base and our, those who are stakeholders in our business, how are they going to view us? We're not sponsoring Everton, but we are sponsoring the stadium where Everton are going to play every fortnight. And that's a link that is going to be obvious to the world to see. And I wasn't convinced the first time round until I saw Evan had put a montage video together of what it could look like, and Craig showed it to me, and I sobbed at the prospect of us, Hill Dickinson, being associated with this. And for me, it was a couple of things really. There were obviously commercial benefits that we could see, and we're not a charity, so you've got to have cognizance of that. Whether it will have commercial benefits in the long term, who knows? You can never tell, but you could see the prospect of it, and we have to have that. But for me, it was more about the city and sustainability, giving back. I mean, we're going to be associated with Everton in the community. We've got some of the children projects associated with us. That's fantastic news. We've seen what has happened over my lifetime in the South Docks and the redevelopment there, and what, in fairness, Manchester City did in East Manchester with Etihad and Abu Dhabi. How good would it be for our name to be the part of the catalyst for that whole regeneration of the docks going up to Seaforth, which is what the Friedkins have said they're going to do, and we've no reason to disbelieve them. Indeed, they've started now already, haven't they? How good would that be to be associated with that and to give back to the city?
And I think that's the thing. It's for the city. I remember when I was working at the arena when it was being built.
Yeah.
And is that it's got to be part of the city. It's not just a concert venue or a conference venue.
It can't be.
It has to be something. The city and that waterfront is maritime is in your heritage as well. Yeah. But it's got to be something. It's something so precious, isn't it? That has so much history. You've got to be kind with it.
I think that's right. And of course, it put the city's status as a city of heritage or whatever it was called at risk. Well, okay. But it's added, I think already we've seen benefits being added to the city because, the profile's been incredible for the stadium. Everybody who goes there sings its praises. It's on the media 24/7, 365. And that's good for the city. It will bring visitors in. It will help the economy. It's helped the sustainability.
Absolutely. Economic benefit,
absolutely
regeneration,
right.
Sustainability. Still not been, just putting it out there. Anyway, but one of the, just talking about the city that is so proud. Yeah. But you read the second lesson at the Hillsborough Memorial Service back in 89, didn't you? I mean, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, I can tell you about that. I can't remember if it was the first or the second. I've been thinking about it now. Sir Kenny did the other one. I was the solicitor at the time and a member of what was the Football Sports Association back in the 80s. And I was at Hillsborough as well. And the chairman of the association, Rogan Taylor, was a great mate of mine. He was actually at Hillsborough with me. He was asked by Peter Robinson, who was the club secretary at the time, to find somebody who would do one of the readings. And Rogan asked me because he thought, well, I could hold myself together because I was a solicitor, used to public speaking. And what an honour, what a privilege. So I said yes.
Wellbeing can be the thing that as leaders you can let slip.
Yep.
Have you observed that? Have you noticed that about yourself?
Yes, but I think I came to terms with it. And I sort of learned that there had to be some non-negotiables, that I had to have some time, that unless, the building was burning down, the world was falling apart, that was my time and nothing interrupted with it. So, and it was small things. Well, it could be small or large. So, I would never miss a Liverpool home game. I know it sounds a bit naff and twee and what have you, but that was my time. I would go with the family, with my sons, whoever was home at the time. I would go to Anfield. End of story. And I don't care what's going on. That's my time. I'm a big cricket fan. So if there's a test match at Lord's, I will go. There's got to be a bloody good reason why I can't go on the day I decide to go or the days I decide to go. If the world is falling apart, okay, I'm a leader and I've got to do it. But unless it's falling apart, that's my time.
Did I not read or listen? Wasn't it something you were at not so long ago that, I don't know whether it was his naming rights or something like that. There was something going on that the test match you had to have on.
Oh, well, yes, it was probably our AGM recently.
It was the AGM, and because
yeah, I got up
that was
at 2
it. It was
o'clock
one
in
of
the
your
morning.
posts
Yeah.
recently.
Yeah.
That was it. One of your posts recently, I saw it was your AGM.
Yeah,
You're now not in the
I'm
CEO
not to do with me.
seat.
No,
So
I'm just, yeah.
I need to make sure that I've got that in the morning, and then I'm prepped, and then I can go in and do my stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Just prior planning, right?
Yeah.
That's your preparation.
But it's about non-negotiables,
Yeah.
I think, and it's about finding that time that is going to be yours, whether it's a walk around Calderstones Park, whatever it is, trying to stick to it, unless, as I say, the world is burning around you. And if you can do that, at least you've got some opportunity, not only to unwind, but to think.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you don't get the chance to think when operationally you're at it, for day after day after day. And you sometimes need to take that step backwards, see a bigger picture, see a vision of what it might look like in the future. And you've got to find that, I think.
Do you find that easy to find?
Well, I find it easy to now. Gradually, yes, I did. Because I did get to the stage where I was prepared to say no. My diary is blacked out for a reason. It's not just because I fancy watching The Chase at 5 o'clock. It's because I'm going for a walk in Calderstones Park or Liverpool at home that night and I'm having, bite to eat with our Matty and we're going to match or whatever it might be. And I got to the stage where I could do that easily. I think you've got to recognise when the world is burning. And there are always going to be occasions like that, and they come first at that point. Yeah. You have a fiduciary duty, you have a moral duty to your partners and your people. But absent that, you've got to do it. You've got to take the time.
Quadruple bypass.
Wouldn't recommend it.
Come up totally unexpected, no pre-warning letter.
There was,
trailer.
There was a bit of a lead in, if I'm being honest, although as most do, we just get on with it, don't we? So I didn't realise this till after the event, but I probably had about a 3-year lead in.
Oh, wow.
It was my youngest son, Matty, who spotted this and remembered it when I was eventually diagnosed. And I said, this is a bit of a shock. He said, well, it shouldn't be, Dad, because do you remember when we went to watch Liverpool play and you had to stop because you were breathless? Well, what do you think that was? Now that we know, what do you think that was? So there was a bit of a lead in, but what I was just getting breathlessness as I thought. Obviously it wasn't. It was a lot more and did nothing about it for some time. Benefit of hindsight, I had 2 mini heart attacks, but I didn't tell our Deborah about that. So let's not tell anybody, shall we? Keep that out. Yeah, keep that out. And actually, and it was purely by chance, I did an insurance medical and I'd already done one and they'd lost the papers. But the doctor who did it, God love him, said, I kept the papers, so no problem. He said, well, we never did the stress echo test, the bike test. He said, and we've got to do it or they won't give you the cover. He said, well, don't worry, I only live round the corner from you. I'm an early riser. I'll come round dead early if you want, and we'll do it in your front room. I'll bring the bike and I'll bring all the ECG equipment and we'll do it. Put the kettle on. I said, fantastic. Thank you very much indeed. Which we did. And he said, there's something wrong. He said, I think you're missing a beat. I can't remember what they call it, whatever it's called. He said, if it's that, it's no problem. But I'm going to have to tell the insurers. And I know what they're going to say. They're going to say they're not going to insure you until you've had a full cardiac checkup. And you won't get that on the NHS because you've no symptoms of a heart attack, because I hadn't mentioned breathlessness, because you don't need have you don't want to upset anybody. So eventually I thought, well, I'm going to have to go and get this cardio check, which I did at Broad Green Heart and Chest. God love them. And they immediately diagnosed angina. And then we did to see whether we could have an angioplasty. And I can't remember the name of my consultant. Oh, what a dreadful thing. Anyway, we were getting on fine. So I'm in the operating room, which is more like a space control center with, screens everywhere and cameras and everything. And he's pumped the dye in and he's given me the adrenaline bump, which is fantastic. I recommend the adrenaline bumps. They were great. I had 3 of them. And at one point he said, can we just move the camera over here? And then he said, oh, shit, that's game over. And I thought, whoa, hang on a minute. And he immediately said, no, you're going to have to have a bypass. It's just I can't do the angiogram. I said, really? Bedside manner? Okay. But we were, as I say...
I'll give you some feedback.
Yeah, we were getting on fine by this stage. So it was, again, it's humour in the face of adversity, isn't it? And he said, no, I can't do the angiogram. We need to get a surgeon. We need to do a bypass. I think it's a quadruple. It might be quintuple. Don't know. Wow. He did say, and I don't know how you calculate this, but he said your main artery's gone completely. It's 100% out. He said your secondary artery to your heart is 98% calcified. You're being kept alive on your peripheral artery. He said you can't do that for long. What are you doing in 3 weeks' time? Because I think you'll be going in for the op.
What did you learn most about that?
A number of things. First of all, if there's something wrong with you, whatever it is, and however small you might think it is, go and ask somebody like a doctor who is medically qualified to say it's nothing, Pete, don't worry about it. Or, shit, it's a quadruple bypass. And that was stupid. I should have done this 2 years beforehand because I had the symptoms for a long time. So that was the first thing. Secondly, I became the grown up in the family because my partner, Deborah's a nurse. She knew exactly what was going on and she'd gone, she'd broken. She was following me around and holding my hand in the park and going for a walk in case I'd keeled over. She admits now she would wake up in the middle of the night and make sure I was breathing. And my eldest son, who's as hard as nails, a corporate finance lawyer, flew back from the holiday of a lifetime to be at the bedside. Dan, I said, what are you going to do? Do the operation? Stay, you're over there with your family. No, I'm coming home. My youngest, he'd gone. He was hopeless. So I was the grown-up, which actually suited me because I felt as if I was looking after them. Yeah. Because I did recognise very, very quickly there's absolutely bugger all I can do about this now. I am here. I'm in 3 weeks' time. I'm having a major operation. I might live, might die. Can't do anything about it.
Personal crisis management situation, right?
It is. And I felt okay. I'm in the hands of Omar Nawatu, the surgeon, who I've done my homework. He's one of the leading surgeons in the country. And he actually operated on our chair, who only had a triple, Jonathan. But I thought, well, he's one of the best in the country. I mean, one of the best hospitals in the world. We are blessed on Merseyside to have Broad Green. Yeah. What can I do about this? It's too late to be going on a diet or going, running or anything. That's going to kill me. So, I'll turn up on the Saturday morning and we'll see what happens. And thankfully, it was great in the sense that I recovered very, very quickly. And by the time I went for the sign-off meeting with Mr. Nawatu, I was walking 5 miles a day and going to the gym and doing everything they said you could do, which I didn't believe I would be able to, but I did. And I learned a lot through that about myself.
And do your own personal homework.
Personal homework, yeah, did it. And I was proven right.
And you're now in a new chapter.
Yep.
As a values-led leader.
Yeah.
You will not be... You might be watching the test match. You might be going to the home games. But for 1 minute, you're not sat... You're hosting a podcast,
yep.
the 3 a.m. podcast.
Yep.
What makes you happy now?
Right, in a work sense or a domestic sense? In a work sense. Being engaged makes me happy, and that's the hard thing about not being a CEO anymore. And even though I'm on the board, I sit on my hands and I bite my tongue because once a leader, always a leader, in my view. That's fine. I can handle it, and I try to keep out the way. And it's Craig's business, not mine anymore. But it's hard. So being engaged when I am makes me happy. The mentoring work I do is very fulfilling, particularly with those who take it seriously. Now, what do I mean by that? It's very easy internally. Some
Doing the
people
homework,
will,
right? Doing their homework.
well, exactly.
Mentees have got to do their homework.
Exactly. And I have a number of people who are really, really serious about, making themselves better in various ways and think I can help, which maybe I can.
And that's what mentoring is. I think sometimes people think mentoring's about being the best expert at this or the best practitioner.
Not at all.
It's being the best version of you, right? Mentoring.
It is, and it's also listening. There's a hell of a lot of listening involved in it. And it's, I don't know the answers to half the things that they ask me. I haven't got a clue, but I'll venture a suggestion, and I'll venture a way that they might find out for themselves.
What have you learned? Because I always think with a mentoring relationship, we have enabled thousands of mentoring relationships, whether it be really tiny, bite-sized conversations, but everything matters, right? But I always find that for any mentoring conversation, you learn as well.
Oh, gosh,
and I think some of the things that you can learn from mentees it's like, groundbreaking. Yeah,
I think you learn a lot about human nature because you're seeing your mentee in circumstances where you wouldn't have seen them in the ordinary operational course of the day. I think what I've learned as well, and I'll give you an example, is that it doesn't matter the sector, the business, the geography, whatever, problems are problems. And if you've had them in our business, the likelihood is others have had very similar problems. So I was asked to mentor the CEO of an NHS trust, a client of ours. And he was going through the NHS fast track course to CEO where you have to find an external mentor. And I thought, well, what do I know about the NHS? I mean, all of my family work in the NHS, but personally, I don't know anything. But I very quickly realised that his problems were our problems, but he just called them different things, and it was a different name for how they manifested themselves. And that struck me as well. Actually, that was quite welcoming because I didn't think I would have transferable skills outside of a professional service firm, a law firm. But problems are problems, and I learned a lot through that as well.
5 round. So what would you say is the key trait of leadership? And I know you've just said about listening. I think that's one key thing. But what would you say is the one most valuable trait as
Empathy.
a leader? What are you most excited about for the future of our next gen?
Oh, that's a hard one. I am excited about whether they can join the dots, because there is, well, it's not just anecdotal now, is it? There's evidence, very different mindset in, say, Gen Z and the younger millennials. Are they going to work out for themselves that work-life balance is great, but if they want the success that our generations had, you probably have to work a little bit harder. I'm not saying that work-life balance choice is bad or anything. I'm not being judgmental at all. But it's economic reality. The more you put in, the more you get out. Now, are they going to join those dots up? Because that's fascinating, really fascinating.
And will AI help that? Because you've got AI in the mix now. This is outside of my quick fire round, by the way. But we talk about AI. We can talk about, do we think it's taking jobs, or actually will it make it easier for us then to do what we're good at?
Yeah, I don't think we know, quite frankly, in a lot of situations now. I think it will change the demographics of a workforce. And if I use law as an example, what I suspect it will remove is a lot of the more junior strata of lawyers, accountants, who do the repetitive, monotonous research type activities.
Could fuel that pipeline, right? It could fuel and fill that pipeline.
It could, but at the end of the day, if you're selling your business, you're going to want to look a human being in the eye and be told that it is the right thing to do, because you will not trust the machine. And I think you're going to need more senior lawyers to interpret what AI is telling you. And I think what will make a good lawyer in the future probably will change from what it has been in my day, in that you're going to have to be much more technically cute. Not necessarily a technician in the sense of knowing about IT and AI and whatever, but being able to understand what it's telling you and how to use it for your clients better. And that's going to be a very, very expensive individual. Yeah. So whether things are going to be cheaper, I'm not convinced yet.
Final quick fire. Desert Island Disc.
Yep.
One song. I don't need you to sing it.
No, I'm not going to. It's not going to be You'll Never Walk Alone, because that's on the way in at the funeral, and it's Test Match Special on the way out. But Deborah and I's song is David Gray, and I can't remember the name of it. She's going to kill me.
You're going to be in the trouble. Come on, phone a friend in the audience.
No, it's not, but it's off the White Ladders album.
Right, we're Googling that. We'll come back to that, because otherwise you're going to be in trouble.
Go home.
We'll be well in trouble. So we'll come back to that. While we're doing that,
yep,
I'm going to ask you to delve into the power jar of fun, into the jar of a question that one of our previous guests has left for you. What could it possibly be?
Okay. If you could trade lives with your pet for a day, what would you do first?
What have you got?
We've got 2 cats.
Wow.
Called Albie and Verge. Albie and Virgil. Bobby and Virgil. Albie was the one before that. After Bobby Firmino and Virgil van Dijk. Obs. If you could trade lives with your pet for a day. Who on earth wrote that question? What would you do first? I'd find whoever wrote this question and scratch them. Well, my 2 pets seem to spend most of their time asleep, which sounds like a flipping good idea for me. So I think I'd have a kip in the afternoon.
There you go. Siesta.
I'd have a siesta. Yeah, I'd
Brilliant.
have a kip in the afternoon.
Say hello, wave goodbye. No, that doesn't. Sail away.
Please forgive me.
Sail away.
Please forgive me, because I know not what I do.
Okay. So, your Desert Island disc.
Yep.
Only 1 record or CD.
Okay.
Or stream, because it's a very, very good island. What would the record be?
Okay. Well, it's not going to be You Never Walk Alone. That's on the way into the funeral. It's Test Match Special theme tune on the way out. So it's got to be mine and Deborah's song, which is Please Forgive Me by David Gray from the White Ladders album.
Amazing. Your soundtrack. Peter, thank you so much
my pleasure.
For joining us on the Teal Couch today.
Yep.
Keep playing awesome. Keep managing those non-negotiables and keep doing your homework.
Thank you very much. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Subscribe on YouTube, Apple, Amazon Music, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Leave us a review or follow us on socials. We are power_net on Insta, TikTok and Twitter. Or We Are Power on LinkedIn, Facebook. And We Are _power on YouTube.